Welcome back to the WatchTower podcast, the film review podcast for Tower Productions, the TowerCast Network. We're in a different location today, as you can see. We're in a
very different,
awesome Aaron the George's Film Cafe. Shout out to Douglas, Doug, and Rebecca, who are the co-owners of this establishment, and they've just been amazing helping us set this up.
Absolutely.
We're going to be hosting the WatchTower podcast at least once a month here from the cafe live. We had a great crowd tonight. We had some friends, got some family, everybody's here. So thank you guys for joining. Give yourself a hand for
coming out. Wow.
Appreciate it.
To everybody, Carlos and JJ, Jason, Drew, and
Mom, Dad. Everybody.
So everybody, thank you guys for coming out. We're going to be doing this once a month here at the cafe. And then the rest of the time, we'll just be hosting in studio, and that's also fun. But this has been great so far. We screened Hustle here at the cafe. That's what we're going to be talking about on the podcast. But before we get into the film, I have to introduce my fellow co-hosts. Mr. John Eric Castro giving us the acting perspective.
Hello, everybody in the Film Cafe. I'm the actor's perspective / co-host.
Wow.
Mr. Matthew Mr. Michael Lalal.
Here I am, wrong actor, but that's okay.
Giving us the cinematography perspective. We got to make sure that we give a shout out to Austin Young. Make sure we're sounding good and the ones and twos back there. Thanks for the wave, pal.
Wow.
You gonna say something to the mic? You gonna say hi to the people?
Go do it. Say hi.
Yeah, do your thing.
Oh, he says hi. Okay. So for those who didn't see.
You might be asking yourself, why Hustle? Why did we screen this film? Why did we pick this film? First of all, this was Austin's pick in the rotation. That's just how it mapped out this way. But I think we also made a conscious choice to want to screen something publicly that isn't going to be too artsy, too heavy, too pretentious,
yes.
or classic or foreign cinema or anything like that.
Because if it was, nobody would
show up. That's true. That's partially true. But honestly, we just wanted to screen something that is a little more easy to consume, but at the same time, still a great picture. And under a ton of crazy circumstances for something like this. This is what I call the modern studio flick, right? Netflix produced this. This had a ton of crazy elements that had to happen. A $21 million budget under this, which is insane considering the amount of people you had in this. A ton of favors were called in to make this film. I mean, you could see that right off the bat, but it's pretty impressive what they did.
What do you mean by favors? Like all the basketball players, all the
I mean, I thought I was watching an episode of Entourage, man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too at the beginning for sure.
The cameos are crazy. But no, still, even the industry professionals, the NBA was obviously involved in capacities just to legitimize the film.
But I feel like everybody wouldn't do it just because it's Adam Sandler.
Well, sure. I mean, that's a huge thing. That's a huge thing.
He's a huge basketball fan.
But before we even deep dive, ratings. We always get into the ratings, our initial ratings for the flick. Who wants to start? Who wants to give their initial review? Would you guys just want to go on?
I think Castro. I want to own.
This film was made for Castro, so I'm very curious to see.
It's kind of made for me because it's a love and hate relationship.
Okay. Explain.
For me, I love basketball. I grew up playing basketball.
Okay.
But I'm also an aspiring actor and filmmaker. Right. So I always critique like sports films. Like I'm always like, did he shoot the ball like any basketball player would have shot it?
Austin, cut to the TikTok of what we're talking about sports films on this podcast before. We've talked about this extensively. This isn't the first time we comment on like judging sports films.
Did you expect that from a sports film? You expect him to fall off the horse and then get back on it.
For
Isn't
sure.
that the formula?
Yeah, the whole formula for like especially a racing like Formula One, it's always like, you know, there's always a rivalry and
what was the average? The average was like
for the bad ones.
But the cool thing about this one is that
the formula is the same for every sports film, dude. It is. And
the cool one about this one is that there's no bad guy.
Right.
Even though you think the playboy is he's the whatever.
No. But what I'm talking about,
feeding off each other.
Yeah. Well, that's
you got the wild card, and then you got the guy that's very precise, trying to.
I didn't care.
Wow.
Look. I like sports films that genuinely break the formula. The way back was formulaic, but it broke it a little bit. Something like $1 Million Baby. $1 Million Baby is a sports film. By definition, it's a sports film.
Okay,
it broke the formula.
Let me see where you're at.
Yeah.
What do you think about Remember the Titans?
I don't think I saw it. Right?
We're two different planets right now.
Remember the Titans is a fucking Disney film.
Yeah, it's a Disney film, isn't it? It's completely formulaic.
But no, yeah. I mean, this film. I mean, let me tell you this. My pedestal of like sports films, especially basketball. Number one, semi-pro.
Wow.
That's the pedestal for me.
That's the top. That's
Okay.
No, but the second one, like that really got
That's
what it is
wrong.
to be in the court and you
Yeah.
know a good story
Sure.
was White Men Can't Jump.
Ah, sure. Yeah.
You know, that-
Wesley
that-
Snipes, Woody Harrelson. Yeah, that's true.
You know that grip and grinding in the in the basketball court and everything. So I think I would rank this one in the third one.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
high, man.
I
mean,
really
for,
liked it. I really liked it,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
what caught me off surprise is like basketball players and musicians transitioning into acting.
Into acting, yeah.
Really doesn't really turn out too well.
Yeah.
With this one, all of them were pretty good. Like they were really, really good.
I mean,
I like the antagonist. What was his name? Kermit?
Yeah, Kermit.
Yeah, his name is Anthony Edwards,
Edwards, yeah.
and
Kermit
he's a great basketball player. But he played the part really good.
Yeah.
So overall, I guess
Overall initial rating.
I give it a solid 9.5.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's
I don't know
your
because I
highest
just
rating?
watched it.
Oh
I'm
my
still
God.
shocked. But
That's super high for that. I think it's been your highest rating, man.
no, highest rating for sure is 10. Cable guy and semi-pro.
Wow.
Well, we haven't reviewed them. I mean, like, this has been your highest rating.
Okay, yeah,
No, no,
that's
no. We had a 10 on last episode.
Ex Machina?
No. If it was that movie, then it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's pretty high
It's
rating.
okay, man. It
We
just
didn't have a 10. Who had a 10?
Yes, each of us have had a 10 so far.
No, I mean, well, you're right.
Yeah, fight me.
I'm wondering what your 10 was. What was your last 10? I remember you rating something 10. Was it the before
Oh,
trilogy?
it might have been the before trilogy.
It might have been. I don't know. Anyways, okay.
But
so
that's really
solid
high.
9.5. Solid 9.5. Okay.
Did not expect
strong
That's
9.5.
very strong to start. All right, cool, interesting. Right? The law.
Did you ever play sports?
Do I look like I ever played sports? Do you
I
really?
just want to know where we're starting
Why?
at.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. Did you ever play sports?
I mean,
What was your sport then?
Was it? What did we talk about? The dance,
Badminton?
The whirling dervishes. The whirling dervishes. That's
I
right.
was a strong folk dancer at one point in time. Hashtag third place.
All right.
We got up there, we grinded every day.
I could see you doing that for sure.
Ratings on the film.
Rating on the film. For sports films, I'll definitely say it's up there. Because I thought it was a really well made sports film.
Okay, well, before you go on, you gotta name some sports films that you like.
Okay, Finding Nemo. Guy had to swim for miles.
You,
Right.
you
Try
definitely
fighting
play
me.
sports, huh?
No. I mean, I look at things like Rocky, where they're a sports film, but they have a lot of heart.
Rocky's got
That's pretty good. Too.
I just feel like this one, it had a lot of heart. It
yeah.
tackled the genre in a different way that I haven't seen as much.
Yep.
I know I was mentioning a little bit to one of the people here that there's just those little cliches that happen that knock it down,
Yep,
and
yep.
it's like the music swelling at certain points in time, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
well. We'll talk
helps.
more
We
into
may
it right
get into
now.
this again.
We'll talk more into it right now.
Yeah, we'll
So
get into
for
it.
sports, I
Well, no,
thought
just in general, as a motion picture.
Dude, he doesn't look sports.
okay as a motion
picture.
as a motion picture 7.9.
Oh, that hurt. Dude.
Oof. All right.
That
Explain
hurt.
Huh?
What's your reasoning behind that right now?
It doesn't play basketball.
Because I don't play basketball. No, I felt maybe it's me not enjoying the genre as much and
Yeah,
feeling like there's
yeah,
certain
it's not your
elements
wheelhouse.
there's certain elements you're expecting.
Right.
There's certain ways that the story builds and you feel like, okay, there's going to be this kind of turn in the plot soon.
Oh,
And then
that's
it hits. And I guess in the elements of it being just very predictable, that's where I didn't like it. But in the way it was executed, I thought it was really well done. So that's where my rating sits. Maybe the more we talk.
Okay, yeah. Because I want to know where the predictable was.
7.9.
7.9.
7.9. Fair.
7.9.
Fair. All right. I'll give mine before Austin's. This is one Austin's pick. But before I do, I would just want to make mention. This was directed by Jeremiah Zagar. He, I was telling a couple people right now that this guy, if you search him up on IMDb, he hasn't done a ton in terms of narrative feature films. He's done some shorts, but he was mostly in the documentary world. And I can't say that this was his directorial debut in terms of narrative because that wouldn't be true, but this was his biggest picture narratively to date. And I thought that was pretty impressive. So I have to give credit where credit is due. And what happened really was Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler and how the power he has to produce now. And Happy Madison was very much in the forefront for this. This was his company producing this film with Netflix. And he had the power to kind of get whoever he wanted. He's a producer, man. So, which typically you do. He got this guy from documentary, called him up, saw a doc he liked, and then And that's pretty much it. He just like I like your style, man.
He was the first one in his, or he went through a couple.
I think, as far as I know, he made the call. Like they were searching for a director. This was it, type of deal. So yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to state that Jeremiah Zagar. In case you haven't seen it, go see it. Come back. But this thing stars Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah. Ben Foster plays a pretty cool role in this.
I love Ben.
I love Ben Foster too. But Juancho Hernangomez, right, which is the lead.
How do you say his last name?
Hernangomez.
Hernangomez, right?
Yeah,
Hernangomez.
Yeah, all one word. He's from Spain. He plays the lead, and he's been in the NBA since 2016. And for him to transition to acting, I thought was pretty impressive. Man.
While still playing basketball.
Yeah, and he's still very active as of this year. Actually, he's playing for the Raptors. 2022, like he literally just moved to the Raptors.
I see that about actors because we've all seen LeBron James.
Oh, he produces too, by the way. LeBron James produces.
He's good at that, but not. But go on with your rating.
Let's not talk about Space Jam. But,
exactly.
LeBron James produces film as well.
LeBron James.
Amongst a bunch of people, but. I just wanted to state all that. We usually kind of open it up that way, but a great cast, great crew. I mean, even the
great
DP
cast,
work
sure.
was pretty impressive, man.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know a ton about the DP. I think he came kind of as a package deal. The director brought him from Docs as well. But anyways, which makes sense, right? At least some of the zoom, some of the camera styles,
we can talk about that. It had its texture, yeah.
Man, I've stated this before when it comes to sports films. But I think that I'm a very big fan of sports films that break the form. That's always been my thing. If I hate the formula. I hate the formula of sports films because it's the same. We talked about that when we talked about Rush on the podcast, and it's the exact same thing for every sports film. And I blame two films in particular, or two producers. Rocky has a lot to do with it, which was a great film, but it set up the standard to a certain degree of how sports films are to be. Literally, any montage in sports films are the Rocky montage.
Yeah.
Right. So, and we saw it 3 or 4 times in this picture alone. So, the formula is interesting. The other film / producer I blame, let's say producer because it's just his style. Jerry Bruckheimer. Jerry Bruckheimer did things like Glory Road. And if you think like Coach Carter. So yeah, I think. Fun fact, by the way, the Happy Madison voice saying "terrific" is Adam Sandler's dad.
You just told me about that.
Wow.
Yeah, fun fact. Anyways, so yeah, Jerry Bruckheimer did this thing. I mean, when you think Coach Carter, when you think Glory Road, and we're from El Paso, we love Glory Road.
Yeah.
Just because it hits home, but it's your typical Disney formulaic sports film that set up modern sports films to a certain degree.
So you think this film was formulaic?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, to a certain degree, I like it because it breaks the formula a little bit. Just the our hero is very different. Adam Sandler is a guy that's set up to lose to a certain degree, and he wins, right? That's some sports films have that.
I mean, Jerry Maguire kind of,
Well, sure, right, but anyways, I compare this film to like The Way Back. That movie doesn't get enough credit for breaking the formula the way it does. So that being said,
I know we still haven't gotten the rating.
Long walk for a short drink of water.
Yeah.
I put this at about an 8.0.
Dude, you guys are killing me.
8.0. And I have to kind of back the law up a little bit to where this just isn't my wheelhouse. Just like you, I mean,
Did you play basketball?
Yeah, I played basketball.
Jeez.
And I love basketball.
Are you just gonna keep like banging that drum? Like,
I love basketball.
Did you do
as a sport?
sport?
I'm an avid fan of the
Do you even
NBA.
lift,
I'm an
bro?
avid fan of the Dallas Mavericks, and Cuban makes a cameo. I mean, you know how many Mavericks, former Mavericks, was in this film? It's terrific. Dirk, Luka, Cuban's in this. Seth Curry's in this. Boban is in this. You know how many?
I recognize Queen Latifah.
Sit down over there for a little bit.
You're learning.
Just sit down over there for a little bit, just a tiny bit. No, but yeah. So I'm an avid fan of sports. My wife and I love going to the Mavs games. We love watching the Mavs play, and it's our team. But I'm not nearly as big of a fan and avid follower as Scottsdale and Austin. When it comes to any sport, when it comes to the NBA, that's what we'll connect on and talk about a lot. But I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as he used to when it comes to that. I appreciate the sport for what it is. I don't read stats most of the time. I watch the games to appreciate the game. That's and you guys know this is
You're
me.
that guy.
I'm that guy. So it's like in levels, right? We're sitting in order, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
I know, right?
But I think an 8.0 is fitting just as a motion picture. It's still going to fall through the tropes of the formulaic aspect of sports cinema.
Do you think it has a chance to get nominated?
Oh, man. We're just talking about this right now. Like, should Adam Sandler get nominated for a film? I don't know, man.
Did he get nominated for Uncut Gems?
No, he most certainly did not.
He
He
definitely
most
won't.
certainly did
snubbed,
not.
yeah.
He got snubbed. But,
No, but
I don't know if it's going to make... It was released in 2022. I don't think it qualifies for the Oscars for this year anymore. I think it got released before the cut. So I don't think it's up for it, but...
So he's just going to make another bad movie. Just for that.
yeah, I hope so.
No, and I'd love
Just stick it
to.
the
I'd love to hear more of your perspective as far as like the acting goes, because I mean, it's really interesting seeing this chapter of like Adam Sandler and like his more serious roles, and seeing
this
the
didn't start
depth in
here.
it.
And we know
Yeah.
this. We've
No,
talked
yeah.
about
This is
this.
probably... Hold on, let me think about it. Because I know there's one good film that I really like Adam Sandler, and this kind of showed me like, okay, he's going back to not just comedy, but, challenging himself. I don't know if you've ever seen Reign Over Me.
Oh, I haven't yet.
Terrific picture.
It's got this style of like serious, obsessive Adam Sandler type of style. So I think this one was one
Times 10, I think that character. I mean, that character, Reign Over Me is a drama about a man who loses his family during 9/11. That's fine, right? See the film. That's what it is.
It's 10 years old, but that was a spoiler.
Come on. It stars Adam Sandler. Don Cheadle plays the other role, is terrific as well. And I think that was the first dramatic role I saw Sandler in too.
He's just one of those guys that is scarred that he lost his family. So.
Before we continue on that note, I just don't want to skip over it. Austin, can we get a rating via the hands?
Rating for the man.
And this guy knows basketball. I hope.
He most certainly does.
The law, you're fired. First off,
it's been a great ride.
you can dance away for us.
Dance away.
Yeah.
I'm not like the little frog that dances.
Sing that Harold and Maude song. Just walk away, dog.
What the hell? No, shut up.
Anyway, go first.
Rating,
Austin.
I'd give it a solid 9.
okay.
That's fair. That's interesting.
What did you like about it?
It's very different from everything else, really, when it comes to sports films.
It's not formulaic, right? At
I
all.
wouldn't say very, but I'd say different.
It's
Okay.
It's
No fighting.
yeah.
It's what?
It's not very formulaic.
It's not very formulaic,
different.
but it's got aspects of it. But it's
For
different.
sure.
This is my second time screening it. The first time I screened it was with you. You screened this for me, so you got to watch this. Like this is great. And it was during the pandemic. Well, at the tail end, I guess. And I agreed. I saw you had seen it. I think once or twice even before that. So
This is like my 4th time watching it.
It's stuck on
You
you.
really like
It's stuck on you. Wow. Okay, 9.0. Any math quiz out?
Yeah, what is that?
Tell us
I
what
think
the-
that's like
the
an average.
collective averages?
I'm going to school, so that should
Jason,
be.
we need math. Can you?
It's like an 8.6 right there.
7.
Okay.
All right, fair. 7.
No, he just shoots out numbers. Don't pay attention. It's okay.
Getting into that
gets
a
excited.
little bit, I think that's interesting. Some people are going to love it. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, Rotten Tomatoes gave this thing a 93. Fresh, obviously certified fresh. And something like IMDb, for instance, gave it 7.3. So it's in that realm. Some people really respect it, especially the common viewer, not somebody who watches cinema avidly or is a filmmaker especially. So I thought that was very interesting. So just in terms of ratings, I wouldn't even say this is mixed. This is mostly positive. It's obviously getting a positive vibe from everybody.
For sure.
And I think when it released, correct me if I'm wrong, Austin, but I think when it released on Netflix, it was big. I mean, it stayed on the
There's a reason for that.
yeah, it stayed on.
Oh my god.
There's no 9. There's no
I've never
8.
seen him look at me like
7.9.
I know.
I'm saying.
Don't go outside with him at the same time. Just
The
make sure you're in a
facts are
group.
there,
Man, there's an alleyway in the back, and if you want to talk, no, but listen, getting back into to some of the elements, acting. I want to talk a little bit about that. There's this great podcast, Towercast. No, I'm kidding. There's a great podcast called Awards Chatter by the Hollywood Reporter. It's hosted by Scott Feinberg, and he talks to Adam Sandler. This is the latest episode of the podcast, and this podcast takes you through the whole career of whoever they're interviewing, and Sandler talks a lot about his initial intention to star in dramatic roles, and it all started with Punch Drunk Love with Paul Thomas Anderson. The story goes that Tom Cruise had a lot to do with this. Tom Cruise had just done Magnolia with PTA, and he basically calls Sandler out of while he was doing Little Nicky, He calls Sandler up and is like, "Hey man, love what you're doing, this and that. Hey, I want to introduce you to this guy. His name's Paul Thomas Anderson."
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, sure, whatever. All right, cool. And he didn't think twice about it. He had this meeting with this guy. He pitched him the film. He's like, okay, whatever, And they ended up making Punch Drunk Love. And from there, he was like, this was the first kind of dramatic role I really wanted to tackle. Did Reign Over Me, did Spanglish, did just a ton of great roles that all led up to really like Uncut Gems, one of his best roles. And then now we're at Hustle, right? But he never shied away from it once he started it. I mean, Adam Sandler started as a comedian. He wanted to be a funny guy in front of the camera. He did stand up in order to get on television. That's why he did it. So I think that the trajectory of his career is very interesting. I think that leading up to dramatic roles is and it's not new, man, right? Like there's a lot of comedic actors that kill. I mean, kill in dramatic roles. And Sandler's one of them, whether people like it or not. A lot of people, and people know this. My closest friends know that Adam Sandler comedies are my guilty pleasure. They just are. I can't explain it. They just are.
Even lately?
Even lately. I mean, well, look, my wife knows this is I think I've mentioned this on this podcast. For some reason, I like Blended. It'll be on and I'll watch it. Yeah. And it's fine. What do you mean by lately? Like the Western thing you did?
Yeah, that West, 9 or 7 or 8 or
the 7, the ridiculous 7.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
I'm sorry, we like having fun. Jeez.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? Turn off your brain and watch a Sandler film. But a lot of it's okay. A lot of it's fine. It's not genius comedy. It's whatever. It's my guilty pleasure. That's why I say it. But I love to see. I always love seeing Sandler in the dramatic role. So that leading up to what do you give this in terms of the acting? What do you and you don't have to
for Adam Sandler for everybody?
Let's start with Adam, but acting for this picture was interesting. It shocked you even in some places, right?
I'm gonna be a little harsh a little bit, but because you can still kind of see Adam Sandler in this. So it's not a total transformation.
Because of the comedic elements, like the comedic moments? Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, it actually helps the character for sure, but...
Yeah.
It's what gives it heart.
I was going to say, I really like the way that he's using the comedic aspects of himself to create that kind of like home and connection with family,
What I'm coming from is like, as trying to be an aspiring actor, that whole transformation, it was Adam Sandler stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. What do you mean? Like his character didn't have it? Like, did he have an arc? In your eyes, as an actor? Well,
no. The story is great. The arc for him is great and awesome. I'm just saying, like, the character he's playing. Like, I know it's a dramatic one, but you still see Adam Sandler. There's other actors
so you couldn't get past Sandler to see Sugarman?
No, I could, but he was still there. It wasn't like a total that's Adam Sandler.
But for instance, in Uncut Gems, you get past Sandler.
For sure, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like when Uncut Gems, he's a Brooklyn dealer. Like, oh wow, that's not Adam Sandler at all. And this one, you can see he's that quirky guy. A couple of funny lines here and there.
That's true.
But still, nailed it. Definitely nailed it because he loves basketball, so you could see he knew what he was talking about. Like,
And I think that's my point. I don't know if you agree because we kind of had the same sentiment, but I think that's my point about the whole film. It was great, but there's still something about it that's subpar.
For you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just where it is, and I think now pointing out the performance in that regard.
It's because to me it goes beyond Adam Sandler. I think just like Kenny Smith, I've seen him in a couple commercials, and he's horrible.
Who's Kenny Smith?
He's the best friend that got the guy in the list or got him the game. The guy with the glasses, the bald guy. The agent.
Oh, okay, yeah, he was good.
He was really good.
He was good.
For sure. This one was the first time.
But he's been in what is he? He's
done a couple he's the TNT
the TNT guy. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I've seen those guys try to do transition to like television, like Stephen A. Smith and stuff and they just can't nail it. This guy definitely looked like an agent. He's a basketball player, so he definitely had a little background to it, but.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know.
No. See, but I mean, Emil just went farther. That's my love and hate relationship because I just see.
By the way, in that regard,
I play basketball and I see him like, oh, that's not real. That's not a good shot. That's not. No.
That's fine. Let me hear your perspective on Ben Foster because I think he was underutilized in this film, man. I've seen Ben Foster in some of the greatest roles. The first thing I saw him in was
Ted.
Jeez, no. The one where he kidnaps the kid.
The mechanic. Oh no, that's not.
No. Jeez, what's it called? Just got Justin
JJ, you should know this.
Taken?
No, I forget something dog.
Isle of Dog.
Alpha Dog.
JJ, come on, man.
Alpha Dog. He was terrific in this. He plays like
yeah, that's true. That's the first time I saw him.
He's like the head brother. He's like chasing after these guys. He was terrific in this. The Western, the modern Western he did. Everybody loves this picture. The Bank Robber Brothers. Geez, what's it called? Anyways, Ben Foster's terrific, and as a lead, and he can do it all. But I thought he was super underutilized in this picture. I mean, it was a great performance. It was a good performance. But
I think it was just perfect for him. He was,
I think so.
Yeah, just the antagonist that's not over the top. He's just the mean guy that.
I mean, he fits the role. He fits the mold. But I don't know.
That's the annoying part. Like,
you wanted to be more part of the story, or more.
What you're doing is you're just adding that element into the film, making an obvious obstacle that then it's super easy to utilize later on, as far as saying, this is my shot. This is who I'm giving it to, and it's like, nope, too bad, and that's the obstacle, and you just can't get past it, and there's no more dynamics to that, and it's annoying. There doesn't.
But you're talking story wise. Right?
Yeah, sorry.
No. But I mean, we can get into that. We can get into that. But I think just performance. What annoyed me was just I kind of.
But I feel like it was underutilized just because of the dynamics of the film.
I mean, it's the story's fault, is what you're saying, and I agree. I mean,
I wanted to see more? Kermit.
Yeah,
I think he did a fantastic, antagonist. Just
the
frog.
Yeah.
The frog.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's interesting. He did good, man.
He did really, really
believable.
good.
He's a player as well, right?
And he's one of my favorite players too. That's
why. What does he play for?
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Good.
He was in there. He's good. A lot of great roles, man. Robert Duvall's in this picture for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays the owner.
He did a good job when he shows him the office. He's like, come here.
By the way, his whole line, right, "Never back down" thing, that I didn't realize the first time screening it, that on the tattoo it says "Never back down." The one he gets.
Oh, really?
So we'll get into
on the tree.
Yeah, on the tree. So the quote on top says "Never back down," and that was Duvall's quote. That was Duvall's advice to Sandler. And Sandler put it in and still didn't.
Also, one thing that really did annoy me, and I don't know if anybody caught this, and I've seen this in football and basketball.
What's that?
Why do people want to play with their chains?
Oh yeah,
I know you told me you told me that it was
it had the letter L for his daughter in the film, and that's why he had it.
That's the only unrealistic thing that I saw, because anybody knows that if you play basketball game, that thing's gonna get snatched. Yeah. It's gonna get ripped off.
But you see it in sports. People wear their chains, right?
And they get snatched.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's one of those things you can't get past. But whatever. I mean,
that's why I love it. I just see those little things like I'm never
like just on the story front. You could do without. He has a tattoo that reminds him of his daughter. You know what I mean? Like you could do
the micro duck.
The little chick.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you could
chick duck.
You could the chick duck. Yeah, you could get past it. Anyways, all right. We talk a little bit about the acting, but let's transition over to the story.
The predictable story.
The predictable story. Let me turn my chair this way. Let's talk about the story.
All right.
What do you think? Okay, so this you saw a lot of this coming.
I did. You did. I did. Okay. I felt okay. In the traditional sports films that we see, there's always this person who is in some way at the top and feels great. Then an incident happens, and they're like, man, how am I ever going to get back up to the top? And then usually through some sports thing later, they like go and they train montage.
But he wasn't on top of this.
Let's play. Well, you're right. Well,
but the way it made him seem at the beginning of the film, where he's in the press conference, he's talking, and then they,
you mean Sandler's character?
Sandler's character.
Top. Well, I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I thought you think the other guy.
The film is on Sandler's character.
Yeah.
Okay, but wait. Before you go further, let me ask you this question. Let's play devil's advocate a little bit. As I'm starting to wonder how we're going to approach this. Is this a sports film's fault, or is this the hero's journey's fault? Because if you really break it down a little bit to its core level, what's the hero's journey? We have a want, we have an obstacle, we have a conflict. With our hero goes through a similar thing, right? So that's just storytelling, period, right? Is it that what's formulaic? Because most films now, that we've gone 100+ films in cinema. They've gotten past the hero's journey. They've broke it down. They strip it. They make a Harmon 8, and there's 8 points now. So what's the point now?
I would argue that it's the genre's fault, only because it's almost giving you those elements that everybody wants to see in a genre like this, like the montage of like this character was never really presented as somebody who needed to greatly improve himself, but we had to have a montage where he goes from being at the bottom and you see him challenging himself, which is then going to motivate later on when they're like, hey, I know you feel knocked down, but in sports, you get back up and then you go. And I feel like those are the elements that I didn't like because they felt maybe it felt too predictable, and then it was easy to use it as a scapegoat, like to get to the next beat, the next scene.
Oh, and I hate. I mean, look, I've had to let it go with films like these because this is very plot heavy, right? And there's a ton of character development. Don't get me wrong. That's what I love about the picture.
Yeah.
But it's very plot heavy. But every sports film is very plot heavy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what pisses us off a little bit, right? It's been done. Everything in film is original and unoriginal at the same time. Everything's been done, but it's about how you do it, right? So I agree with you to a certain degree, but by that same token, I do think that that's the tightrope we walk on as storytellers. Everything has been done.
Yeah.
But
true.
And this in sports, I'll say this: sports stories, sports films, they have it rough, man, because there's only a certain amount of ways to go about it with sports films. And people break it down. Like, for instance, let me give you an example. Like something that was up for Oscars not too long ago. I, Tonya is by definition a sports film.
Yeah.
But it didn't follow the formula the whole way, and that's in part to the character, right? That's in part to who she was as a real person. But something like that, something like Molly's Game, to a certain degree, right? Gambling. But I don't know. Those are the sports films that break the formula for me. I don't think this was as close to doing it.
I will say that in the way that it broke the formula is...
Goon! We talk about Goon all the time. I'm sorry, but Goon is a perfect example. Hockey, I mean, we don't get a ton of hockey pictures to begin with unless you're Mighty Ducks, but it breaks the formula a little bit. But anyways...
I was going to say that I do enjoy the fact that this one, most sports films, which is the Achilles heel and what makes it so predictable is that there's always a big game. And there's the big game where it's like, oh, if they win it, then they're winning something bigger. But I like that this one, it wasn't focusing on the game as much. It was focusing more on the mentality, It was him having to overcome a personal struggle. And I think in that's where, I'll say it changed up the formula a little bit. It's trying to stay closer to the character and let the performances shine.
Well, same with the formulaic thing that you guys saying. Did we get a coach's speech?
Yeah, man.
Was that a coach's speech?
Sandler becomes the coach, right?
It's because usually in the locker room. This time,
well, that's a team sport, right? That's a team thing.
Castro, you're telling me in a spotlight scene, much like this, the Adam Sandler's got to walk up to him and he's all sad and he's like, "You gotta get back out there, kid. You gotta keep going." You're telling me that wasn't
Yeah, but it's either usually a team
exactly.
Or it's just but that's a sports. It's either one-on-one or it's a sports.
That's also what they were doing.
I'm gonna ask the audience right now.
It was that whole thing on like you're only up against yourself, and that's what he kept like iterating.
No, for sure.
That's by the way, that's what it's hanging on to. I think that's what this movie's hanging on to. Like if he didn't have the internal struggle of controlling his temper, if he didn't have that whole thing, like when he punches the ground. I mean, you kind of expected it, but if he didn't have that, I'd be very less interested in this. And then not to mention, one thing that really bugged me about the story, or at least a moment in the story, is when they're riding in the car. He finally convinces him to get in the car after this massive moment where they lied to each other basically. Right. So what they got in the car and they're telling each other what the fuck happened. Right. And it's a great story point. It's a great background. But I hate, and a lot of films do this. I hate when he's like, right, he tells his story. Oh yeah, this happened to me. I almost killed the boyfriend of my ex-wife. Blah, 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 blah.
You'll never understand Adam Sandler's.
Right. And then
maybe I do.
10 seconds later, I was at a college party. It's okay. Give it a little room to breathe. Focus on his thing a little bit. I hated it. I hate that point. And
I feel like your rating's gonna go down.
I didn't know, right? I didn't hate the background to it. I didn't hate the storytelling behind the actual story.
Just
I hated that you sandwiched them in just to. I'm trying to save time. This was a tight hour 49, hour 50?
I do like the element that there's always
hour 58. It was a tight. It didn't drone on. It was fine.
I do like that there was always that little hint of Adam Sandler's kind of like his vulnerability. Like you always see his hand, you always see there's this kind of like damage behind him, and then you always see with the other guy that even though he says, "Oh, I'm good to play, I'm good to go out there," there's that internal struggle that they're both dealing with, and I think that added humanity to the story. That really made us motivated to see what did happen behind, their own veils.
I will say this. What I think also broke the formula for me a little bit is I'm a huge geek when it comes to behind the scenes stuff, right? We're filmmakers. So that's partially why I love Entourage. It's partially why I love stuff like that. So like this humanized the game for me. This humanized the NBA for me. You know, and I think that was really cool. In terms of breaking the formula, it wasn't this huge attainment in terms like for them, this is their everyday thing. This is my job, and I got to get this kid an opportunity. But it wasn't like this. We got to get to the big game. It was like it humanized the game. It humanized the people in the game. It humanized the organization as a whole. So I don't think that's been done before, at least to this level, right? At least for the NBA. The NFL has had its moments, right? But I don't think for basketball they've done this before.
By the way, I love this incorporation of, I guess, documentary style storytelling.
Yeah. When it's done properly.
Yeah,
when it's
but you know what?
Properly.
Like when I have seen like sports docs or I forget what the show's called, but it's like Last Chance, and they talk about like the NFL.
Last Chance U or what?
Yeah.
Last Chance U?
Where they talk about like NFL teams and I guess like their struggle to improve certain aspects before they get to the big game. You know, they're trying to get to the championship. And I saw a similar style in storytelling when you see like the press conference at the very beginning.
Yeah, that was
all that shaky
pretty
cam.
authentic.
And I felt like that really authenticated the film.
Yes, it was.
Coming from a dog director, right?
And I see a lot of those stuff and I'm like, wow.
Well, let me ask you this,
really
'cause
well used.
I haven't seen the whole thing. You guys loved it. I think they overdid it in like Winning Time. You know, is that what it's called? The Lakers thing? Yeah, Winning Time. Is that what it's called? They overdid that style. For no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, sure, authenticate the era, but like this, I
Did
think
you
this
think
was
that?
key
Did you think
moments
that?
of it.
I was going to say that I
and that's what turned me off. I watched 2 episodes. I was, all right, it's fine.
It was
really,
it was really subtle, but I could tell the shifts whenever they had this kind of shaky cam feel, but then they kind of tapered it down, and then it led into they put the camera on sticks, and these 2 people are going to have a dialogue, and we really need to let that moment just kind of sink in for the audience, and they knew how to kind of blend that in. They knew how to blend it in where it would be either on sticks.
Here's a good question though.
Yeah.
I don't know. This might sound weird, but did you see any like cinematography standouts in this one? Because usually in basketball, like in sports
no,
films, you really
I was gonna say
it's the subtleties.
Well, what I was talking about earlier is when
you mean shots specifically?
Yeah, like
when the characters.
Yeah, like I don't think like this is like a artsy.
No.
One thing I'll say, and I think a lot of sports films have the challenge of doing, is how do you show a sport that's been played over and over again and do something different? I really liked when Bo and Kermit were face to face challenging each other. When you see the scrimmage,
well, it's not Snorri Cam, I guess, but the
no, they're not Snorri Cam. It's
dead on.
yeah,
when they're just talking.
It's dead on. You know, looking at the audience, but looking at that character. POVs. And what I really liked was that when you first see it, Bo is at like he's at like a higher shutter speed, and he's a little bit more fidgety, and it's going a little bit fast. But it shows how shaky he is as a character in that moment. And then when it flips over to Kermit, Kermit's confident. He's cool. They show him in like a 24 frames per second. They follow him in a very smooth way. And I like that. And then they had the bookend later on where they showed the same shot, but now you're seeing both of them level-headed, a little bit shaky and all that kind of stuff. So I'll say that I really appreciated that. I love that. That was very different. And also, I've never seen a film that's willing to go, I guess, kind of like this shallow with the sports scenes where it's blending in and out of focus. But I think that ties into like the documentary.
But
that
what
works
I was
for
gonna say,
sure.
though, what stood out for me for whatever reason, I mean, it was very intimate moments when we saw it the most, but super telephoto. A ton of the stuff, man. We had blurry backgrounds. We had the character in frame. We had the character.
But that all goes back to like
super
Doc.
Sharp.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, what I thought was interesting, directorially and cinematography wise, each character had its own arc in terms of camera.
Oh yeah.
For instance, by the way, that's part of what's good about the story too. Every arc in the story I cared about. I cared about the daughter's arc. I cared about the marriage. You know, I cared about. By the way, I was telling you while we were watching this, but it shouldn't work, those two together.
Queen Latifah.
Never pictured Sandler and Queen Latifah and something together, but it worked.
We had a comment earlier from an audience member who will remain unnamed, JJ.
JJ.
About this.
Call him out.
about this punch-in at the end with Queen Latifah.
Oh, I hated it too, man. The Tarantino punch.
Yeah, it was like that's
Which one?
Oh, it's like
she's in the stands.
hey, where's my wife? And
That
then
was
it
the
just
dumbest
zooms
thing
in.
ever. It was so unnecessary. It was so unnecessary.
Was it romantic? What did you feel like in love with Queen Latifah in that moment? Like, oh man, she
Felt like
scared
she was
me.
about
Yeah.
to kung fu fight somebody in the audience, man. That was terrific. No. But I what I'm saying is that, for instance, anytime we got into some of the camera movements, I noticed that right away would cut to the daughter filming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it wasn't a POV thing in her camera.
No,
it was like her
film,
becoming
yeah.
the storyteller to tell this story.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that was
Some of the
a real
social media
nice, like,
stuff was
subtle
very
art.
purposeful.
Yeah.
And by the way, I usually get annoyed with modern films. I guess it's just the world we live in now. When they use social media in movies, this was great.
Yeah.
It worked.
Like as a
yeah.
tool for the storytelling, it was great.
To me, it felt like a tool for authenticating
Yeah.
itself. You know,
But it wasn't
authenticating itself right now.
cheesy. It wasn't,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it was-
But I could see that coming too. Like you guys were saying, like, yeah, the daughter's gonna have something to do with it. She's gonna have an idea.
No,
I saw that.
You
coming.
said that.
Yeah,
to
I told
me
you, I
when we were
was like-
screening to. Yeah. I mean, some of that came, but that's,
So yeah, I guess.
that's due in part. I don't know.
Maybe
right
that's
now
the
when we
hero's
get
journey
to
in
the
storytelling
audience, I'd
beats,
love to
yeah.
ask if just kind of on the general audience member note, we have mostly filmmakers in here, so might be tough. But just to ask what they thought in terms of that regard, but we'll get there shortly. I just want to talk a little bit about before we turn to the audience. About the approach.
bless you.
About the approach. I think that story-wise, we've established directing, cinematography, and acting collectively is fine. But I want to talk about the subpar elements a little bit, and not to harp on it. For instance, usually in sports films, because of its tropes, you expect a really good score. I didn't feel that here. I didn't get...
Give me a film, a sports film that has a good score.
Come on, Rob. Remember the Titans, and I haven't even seen the damn film, but the
That one had a good
is
score?
yeah, absolutely.
I love the film. I just don't really.
It's a very memorable score. I mean,
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You listen to you get score mixes on Spotify or whatever, and you get a lot of sports film scores. I didn't. By the way, it uses soundtrack very effectively.
I see where you're going with
we
this.
get
Yeah.
rap. We get rap from other countries and stuff like hip hop and stuff like that. It uses it effectively.
It uses it
and if
effectively.
you don't know this by now, hip hop and basketball are like this.
Yeah.
You know, there's I forgot who said this, but filmmakers want to be basketball players want to be rappers. Rappers want to be basketball players. Right? That's a big thing. Carlos Corral's got a comment, I think.
What about the first Space Jam movie? That had an amazing score.
You're right.
That is true.
Soundtrack. So I mean, it's yeah. I mean, do sports films use more soundtrack? I feel like they use more score.
I think they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah,
Basketball films, at least. I guess
no,
maybe for that reason.
No,
anytime,
but Space Jam, yeah, that's untouchable.
Space
The first
Jam's
one.
a
anytime you see a
phenomenal
sports
soundtrack.
film, or
First
most sports
not the
films
second.
have the montage that has to really energize the audience into like
That's where
their
the score
journey.
comes in.
Yeah.
There's a composer. They hire a composer. You
For
know what I'm
sure.
saying?
But it worked.
And in the montage,
For this
you're
one.
absolutely. I feel like they use more soundtrack in the montage. I didn't. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
remember
no,
there
it
being
was a
score.
lot more
Yeah,
soundtrack.
there was a lot of, like,
there
rapping
was
and,
And by the way, I'm
score-
not in any way saying that it's the weakest element in the film. No, but I usually expect it. And if you're gonna use soundtrack and make it effective, cool. But
It was okay.
You know, it was fine. It
was
wasn't
okay.
memorable.
Yeah, it was
I
okay.
don't think it was memorable in the slightest.
No.
I don't know.
I found myself bobbing my head for some of them.
Yeah. it
That's
was
just
fine.
you.
It was fine.
I wasn't bobbing at anything.
You never.
Don't
bobbed
you
to
drag
anything,
me
bro.
into this bobbing nonsense.
Yeah, no.
You bobbed to church choir music.
Hey,
Sorry.
What else?
continue.
No. Just what else did we feel before that felt subpar?
I have a
Because
big
we
gripe.
just named what it did great.
Yeah.
What did great for it. But though it was very memorable, and I'll recommend the film, and I think people should watch it.
Definitely.
It's not going to be up for Oscars. It's not going to be up for awards buzz. It's not going to be up for, and I'm not saying every film has to be, but I'll probably forget about this film in a couple of years if I don't rewatch it.
Yeah.
You know
Has there ever been
what makes
a
that?
sports film that won an Oscar?
Yeah, of course there has. Well, for instance, if we go back to like,
You sounded like it was just right off the top of
no,
your head.
of course there has. I mean, at least they've been in contention. I just mentioned I Tanya not too long ago.
Okay.
Rudy was up for Oscars. when
Rudy
it
was one,
you know,
yeah,
So
that-
like, no, it's. I mean, it's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget Moneyball.
Moneyball. Well,
Wow.
okay.
Hey, give me a couple of
I
elements
always
for it.
feel like Moneyball.
Dude, the last-
it's definitely a
when
sports
he's hearing
film.
the
It's the
song of the
politics
daughter.
of sports more than it is, right? It's like, but it is by definition a sports film. That's true.
Yeah,
Moneyball,
for sure.
In recent memory.
I like Shape of Water.
Okay. So getting back
Yeah,
to
we lost it. All right, we're reeling it back in.
no. Yeah, I just don't know. There's
They
something
swim.
about, but
There's fish.
look, and this is something we argue a lot about on this podcast, and something frankly my wife and I get into about like general audience member versus film lovers, filmmakers. They're obviously making this film for more and more and more people to consume it, and that's part of it, right? They're not going to go super artsy with something. They're not going to go super filmmakey with something. They're going to want people to consume this. They're going to want this Netflix thing to play 100 times for people every day. So. Is that what held it back? That they just wanted this
to make it? No, because
I
don't.
it wasn't that much.
I don't think they were aiming for easily consumable, like just generic. I think they definitely wanted to try something different. I think they were definitely trying to push the medium forward in the way that they did with cinematography, acting. Did
it push the medium forward? You're big on this. Did it push the medium forward?
What do you mean by push the medium forward?
Cinema.
Meaning,
No?
Nah, I don't think so.
I think it definitely wanted to explore a sports film that had a closer story towards characters and them building on their own personal battles and all that.
Well, yeah, I see it as a
$1 Million Baby was another one that won an
that
Oscar.
one was horrible, dude.
What? You getting audience? No, $1 Million Baby is a terrific picture. What are you talking about?
Hey, man, we're about to put in 20 minutes. Don't worry about it.
Now they're gonna jump Costa. That's great. You got saved.
Yeah. I got saved.
Dude, that guy's still making movie. He made a movie called Mule, where he's just on the truck.
I heard it was good. I haven't seen it. Yeah. Clint Eastwood is terrific filmmaker.
Dude, he's just driving the whole way.
Okay, getting back to this.
We got the first boo from the audience.
That's just something in recent memory. It won a bunch of Oscars. But anyways, I agree with you. I don't think it pushes the medium forward in terms of filmmaking necessarily. There's nothing that stood out in terms of the craft. But in terms of sports films, it might have something going for it. Yeah,
because I'll say this is up there for me as far as sports films. Yeah, and I again,
very realistic.
Like we mentioned at the top of the show, I don't play sports. I never played sports.
You don't say.
Yeah.
You look like you play tennis.
You look like you play pickleball.
I just saw your dad face palm. Like, disappointment.
So, I'm sorry, Ed.
He was a grade A student.
No.
He's a grade A student, so.
Like, I picked up a book once. It was heavy. Like...
What about that?
No, I don't understand all the lingo when it comes to sports. It's hard. But I'll say that I really connected with the film, and I really connected with the characters, and it pulled me in. And when a film can do that, I mean, that's what's great about it.
Since we're already there,
my philosophy is that too.
Okay. Would you go up or down?
Wait, not yet. Let's hear from the audience, and let's talk about that. But
calm down, Sancho.
I couldn't agree with you more. My philosophy with cinema is if a film makes you feel something, anything, that's the point, right? So. Well, let's open it up to a little bit of audience. I'm going to pick on somebody a little bit because he's already spoken up. But Tocayo, I want to hear about sound and if there's any standout. We have a mic up here. You don't have to. I mean, we're picking it up, but Austin has a mic where we can communicate if you want to come in. But do you have? Was there anything stand out about sound? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
Oh, and then coming from
Carlos Corral.
No, this is a Netflix movie.
Netflix
actually has one of the highest standards for sound, so if it's not good, it won't be on Netflix.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay,
yeah. So
but does it usually make an impact with you in terms of watching something and if it's something you can't hear, you can hear? I mean, did this do anything for you in terms
Did you enjoy the diegetics, the squeak?
Yes,
on
actually,
the floor?
Hustle's one of the few films that actually focuses a lot on its dialogue,
you
can actually. This is a movie you can watch without subtitles. A lot of times,
beautiful
filmmakers forget that, and you have to turn the subtitles on. Right. It's just kind of that thing you do. But in this case, and of course, we are in a very nice cafe that has a great sound system too. So that's also part of the experience. But yeah, this is one of the few films that you can watch it without subtitles.
Wow,
beautiful put.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay.
Thank you, sound man.
Does anybody have anything about the film? Whether
JJ looks like he's just holding back something.
Comments. Do I have anything to say about this picture?
Focus puller in the back.
By the way, whether it's a filmmaking note or not, that I like, that I hate it, whatever you guys want. If anybody wants,
I saw Jason raise his hand. I know you're scratching, but I want to hear what you think. Come on.
You really want to know what I think?
Yeah,
Come up. There's a microphone.
This is the
Jason.
This is the beauty of doing this podcast.
Jason, grip extraordinaire.
I'm doing this podcast
You don't have to love it.
Metaphorically and physically.
I just want to know why, like, so we can.
So I walked in halfway and I was on Instagram half of the movie, but
Well, that says a lot. Maybe.
But it was just kind of like a feel good.
Picking up a little
bit. It's a feel good movie. It's like, hey, watch it with the family. No one's gonna get offended.
Okay.
I would never bring my family to this film. I'll tell you.
That's what I'm saying. I only watched half, so.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah.
But to me, it's just Jerry Maguire reimagined. Even the main character's name is Cruise. Tom Cruise. Hey.
That's a stretch, I think.
And then, like, you know, I was just waiting for someone to say, "Show me the money." Like,
show me the money.
That's the impression that I got.
You had me at hello, but
say it, baby.
Move on.
And then you had like the blonde character. I didn't catch her name or anything, but I was like, "Hey, that's Jerry Maguire's love interest."
You had me at hello.
You know, I will say that. Yeah, but when she was introduced, I was thinking like, "Oh, is that the love interest?" And then you have to kind of like have Queen Latifah jump in and it's like, oh, we have a kid. And it's like, oh, okay, that's not the love interest.
But there are similarities between this and Jerry Maguire. So if you've never seen Jerry Maguire, obviously you're not going to catch it. But if you watch this and then go back, you're like, hey, you know, like you were mentioning, Adam Sandler's character is kind of like down and out. And then he found this young athlete and help himself, and
putting all his money on
it's just Jerry Maguire being reimagined.
Okay, fair. I mean, and that's by definition Jerry Maguire's a sports film. I mean, it's rom-com, it's sports film, it's kind of everything.
I know we didn't get a rating, but what would you give it?
From what I saw.
Had you seen this before?
No.
Okay.
You only saw half of it?
Yeah, we'll rate the half of it.
I saw about 7 minutes of the film, so I'll give it a 7.
I'll give it a 7.
Okay. Which, if that's half, he's giving it a 14. That's pretty great.
Oh, man. All right,
crazy.
Cool. No, but that's good perspective. I mean,
that's it.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else?
Any
JJ, Uncle Drew.
JJ. Fun facts about JJ.
Oh, many fun facts.
Has a beard. Looks like he played in a sport, and he knows how to color films.
I only ran track for like half a semester, and then tried football for another half semester. Then I had to get a job. So
there you have
that didn't work out.
Man with a dream. Who now colors?
I'll start off with the rating.
All right.
Okay.
And then
7.
Hard 7.
Hard 7. Probably less than that.
All right.
I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna go 7. The reason why, this guy Cruz didn't deserve anything that he was given.
Wow.
Why? They literally called every single time he needed something to be done. Adam Sandler would call up his Leon. I forget the guy's name, the actual actor.
Yeah.
And it would just happen. And it's like, come on, bro, really?
You think?
What do you mean?
What about the time Leon said, "I can't do it"?
Right, and then they did the video. That was good. That was good. That was the only time. And it wasn't like. I wish there would have been a scene where Bo met with Merrick. Something like that.
Oh, that would have been a good little scene for sure.
Something. It was just like
after he got fired, or when
everything after he got fired.
Well, like as a payoff, like
not even just like. Then I feel like it was just like Bo was just like on one line, a storyline, and everything else was elsewhere. And I get that's kind of the point of the movie because he's just supposed to focus on the sport.
Plot. I mean, that's what plot does.
But like, come on, man, like it has to be. I feel like
you feel like Leon was a saving grace type of thing. Like,
yeah, like he was just like, oh, we need help. We need help, like a kind of like a. What do you call it? A lifeline?
Yeah, well, that's
fair.
Call him I mean, the lifeline is fair, but I think.
But it was used too many times, dude.
The name of the film is Hustle.
If you do like a lifeline one time, fair. But it was every single. It was like twice.
I mean, that's some of the things.
It cheapens it too much.
No, but I see where you're going with that.
I agree because there are some times when any challenge comes up, like even the challenges, like it'd be like, oh, you're gonna make it into the NBA. Oh, guess what? We're not gonna let him in. Oh, okay, then I quit.
I will say, and that's true, and I agree.
Man, you guys are harsh.
But I'll throw this in there as a wrench, right? I do think that what helps justify it a little bit is the amount of time they known each other. They played basketball together. They're really close friends, and he saved his life.
I understand that. I wish I would have seen that. I wish we would have seen that crash. To be honest with you,
sacrifice. I mean, it's his fault. He was driving drunk, right? But it kind of. I mean, that kind of justifies.
What a weird way.
No, I hear that. Yeah.
What a weird like relationship. Like, hey, I saved your life. You were driving drunk. Yeah, but. You're welcome.
But you're welcome. You still saved your life.
What a odd.
I mean, that's interesting. But no, I get you. That's fair. It cheapens it. Okay.
But I also agree with Michael. I mean, we don't get to know Bo a lot before he gets kind of like found by.
Do we need to?
Do we?
I feel. I work. It's like, I work in the construction, bro. I know a lot of people that make a lot of money in construction. So what are you complaining about? Like,
but as much money as the NBA?
Yeah, in Spain.
I don't know. I don't know anybody in Spain, so that's hard to say.
Well,
I don't know if you know the economics over there.
That's fine, but
No, that's not fine.
This was Adam's story. It wasn't necessarily.
It was
Bo's.
geared around.
No,
Adam.
I understand that. It was just like, oh, I found the guy, and he works construction. As if that's a terrible thing to do.
No, but he's on play ball.
But
He's on play ball.
I know he can play ball. I was just like, but like,
You would've wanted
what
some
else?
more.
Like, okay, you have a daughter, you're single, you live with your mom. What else, bro? Like, there has to be like, I feel like there has to
That's pretty well
be. I still feel like, look, I'll always hold Warrior as like my favorite sports film ever.
Oh, this guy.
Which one?
Warrior.
Oh yeah, that's
Tom Hardy.
That's a hard one.
What's his name? Joel Edgerton. Like to me, that was like
He directed
high
that picture
stakes.
too, right?
No, somebody else. But like to me, that one's just like everything's high stakes. Everything. Tom
Yeah.
Hardy has like.
You know, I was wondering if they were
Tell
ever
me.
going to play that card, like if I don't make it into the NBA, then my daughter's life's going to be ruined, or they were going to add
Anything
something
like
into
that.
force like
Dude,
stakes. But no, but I think if it's that weird balance, because if they added something like that in, I don't know if it would have felt too like, okay, now you're just reaching like, oh, of course there's some stake now. Like he had a perfectly fine life, and now there's a stake that his daughter's like,
I think this. Well, I will say though, I think the stakes are pretty consistent in this, and that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
For the stakes to be consistent, it's pretty rare.
Well, consistent doesn't always mean good, though.
I mean, in this, I think it's pretty justified. I mean, I don't need to know more of Bo's story to know Sugarman's stakes. You know.
No, I understand that. I mean, the one that had the sticks was Sugarman because he was putting all this money in.
Yeah.
on porno.
Not just that,
Yeah.
but he not only just invested his own money, but
His reputation
he
too.
invested his life, his reputation, man. If this
Yeah.
wasn't going to work out, he was going to go coach basketball, high school basketball or something.
I think you need to see it again, bro.
I think that's.
I just feel like it was so predictable that I'm like, he's
well,
not
I
gonna
mean,
go
sure,
down.
that I can agree with.
I'm
you.
like,
Predictable.
I don't.
Y'all need to play basketball more, bro.
Well,
All right, cool. No, great perspective.
Thank you, man.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right,
that's great.
cool.
That's great. All
get
right.
off the mic.
Anybody else who's got any more perspective before?
Would anybody like to jump?
Uncle
on?
Drew?
We just call him Uncle Drew because Uncle Drew's a sports film and it's just applicable today.
I feel like it's my Uncle Drew, man.
Aw.
Drew, any perspective? Our awesome film commissioner is joining us.
Yeah,
Wait,
this is the guy. This
Do you
is
have
the
any fun
main
facts to
guy
say
right
about
here
Drew
that
as he
put it all
walks to the
together.
mic?
Any fun facts to say about Drew? He loves movies.
What?
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
Movie lover.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, Carlos, that you don't like this movie more
Really?
because it is so schmaltzy.
It's so sentimental that I have
It
to
is
like
sentimental.
It's because nobody
Maximus.
fell in love at the end. If somebody
yo,
had
that-
fallen
You
in love-
know, if Bo and
This
Sugarman would have
movie-
fallen in love, they would have sung a different. I'm kidding.
This
No.
movie is a bromance. This is a buddy film.
bromance.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's especially at the end when he's like, "Thanks, Dad." You know that the weird.
Yeah.
I gave it an 8. I mean, I didn't give it a 5. I mean,
No,
it's
yeah,
fine.
no, I know, but
It's no death wish.
Ugh.
yeah,
Go on, let's move forward. Yeah.
and
I'm sorry,
I
go
think
ahead.
also I think the music was interesting because the lyrics I found myself reading them, which
Oh, yeah.
that's why I don't like to watch
With subtitles?
stuff with the titling.
This guy
'Cause
knows. You guys like it.
I like subtitles. Yeah.
Well, because it says soft music playing, and it's like, well, that's not really soft.
Not that
It's-
soft.
And
it's
it- or-
hip-hop
or-
and it's soft music.
Or it would
like-
say sentimental music.
I agree. It takes
And
a
it's
lot.
like, yeah, who?
Well, that's a big technical
interesting.
thing, right? But that's
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, that's fine.
I'm
Well,
trying to get
but in
along.
terms
I'm
of
not
the
trying
actual, by the way, Drew was saying to me before we rolled that his friend Jaleel White's in this, and Steve Urkel, if you don't know him, he
Yeah.
played a minor role, but
Yeah.
it was a role nonetheless.
Yeah, it was very
like-
cool to see him in
And this
that.
is a friend of Drew's from scouting, other stuff in San Antonio and stuff. But anyways, did you like it?
I liked it. What I really was hoping would happen is that he would have got on the plane and
that's it.
played in Spain. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
somebody would have picked him up, I think,
Sure,
on
sure.
a European team.
That's something you have to ask yourself. Sure, to JJ's point, he works construction, and he never had ambition to go higher, but he probably could have played in Spain and have a pretty good life, right? I mean,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it would have been the same, but
then we wouldn't have a movie, I guess.
well, you wouldn't have the same Netflix feel good
Sure.
Yeah.
movie.
By the way, originally to that point, the script was meant for this to be taking place in China. It was going to be a Chinese basketball player, but at the time, I don't know if it's still true or not. Netflix was not doing business in China. I think that's still true. I think they don't have Netflix in China. So I think that's what happened. They switched it to Mallorca to Spain because of that. So that's I think it created a lot more depth, but I'm also biased because a lot of it was in Spanish, so that was relatable.
Me that I see basketball,
Yeah.
the European League, it's actually in competition with the NBA. So
Yeah,
Really?
I can see
I
why
mean, we get players from there for a reason.
Exactly.
I mean, Luka, who's one of the biggest guys right now, we
just to let that in. Right?
Yeah, and I love the pop zoom on Queen Latifah.
Oh, you good?
Yeah, I mean it because those sports lenses they use are like a bazillion, 1,200 millimeters or whatever.
But you know, do you see? I mean, I guess you see some pop zooms in sports broadcasting, maybe. But what's the?
Yeah, I thought it worked
Never
fine.
thought about that, like the photographer lens.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking on that.
Like if she was on the jumbotron type of thing when they pop zoom into something.
Yeah, no, but it's again, and my justification for that was it does authenticate, the texture of the film. No, the texture of the film. Like when you watch sports, there's a certain texture, and I think it was replicating that well.
I have a feeling that the director just loves Tarantino or Kung Fu cinema, and just like I gotta have the shot in the film. I think that's my justification.
I would have done that.
Oh my God.
But
he had a lot of other really cool shots, like the ones on the ground looking up.
Yeah, looking up with
the
clear thing.
ball. When he was doing the
Yeah,
drill,
when he
Fair,
slaps
fair.
the ground.
and I mean, but it was like half editing the
3
basketball,
editors, by the way,
and
this
then half were actual shots, which was cool.
Right. And it doesn't hurt to have a lead or leads that know how to play the game. I mean, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
So anyway, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I would have been just as happy if he'd got on the plane.
Okay,
That's interesting.
Did he give us a
Interesting.
rating? Give a rating?
A rating. What would you give it if you could?
A rating. 1 to 10.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7.
Jeez.
Lucky 7 is what it's been getting.
Well, thank you, Drew.
I love it.
Okay, wait.
I love it.
That's great.
I wanna do a new segment on this show.
7.
I want to do a new segment on the show. It's called "Ask My Parents What They Thought."
All right.
Parents
Fair.
who were gracious enough to come out tonight.
Yeah.
Did you guys enjoy the film? They
Coming
said
from-
yes.
Are you guys sports fans, or this is just?
You like
Is that
football?
you're a
He
football?
loves football.
Oh, okay.
He loves the Cowboys more
Yeah.
specifically.
So he knows.
It-
So he
a little
knows-
bit.
He
knows-
said to me, if I was born on game day, he wouldn't have shown up. So
Fair.
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 yeah,
That's great. We heard from a lot of filmmakers. I'd love to hear, like, just in terms of, I know you guys love movies, but just from general audience. Sandra is here. My wife is here too as well.
The owner.
Doug, I mean, I know you love
Yeah.
cinema, and you're like, you and I.
What did you think of this
are
film?
cinephiles, but what did you? I mean, just do we have any perspective on just your favorite part?
The part where they talked about the Cafe de Olla.
Don't sleep on the Café de Olla.
Yeah.
That's the moral.
Spread
of
the word.
story.
moral of the
Spread the good
story
word.
is moral of the story. Aaron and George's
Café
film
de Olla.
cafe has the best cafe de olla.
The greatest.
Any other just kind of comments as far as, like, as a movie? I walked into it. I've seen it. It's great. It's good. It's bad. It's anything like that.
And
Like that you can relate. I felt I could relate with the characters.
Okay, you can
Nice.
relate. It's relatable.
There's some times where
Do you want to jump on the mic?
no.
You don't have to. You don't have to. It's all right. It's perfectly fine.
Great, we scared her. Now she's running.
If you want to, great. If you
No,
don't.
there's a lot of movies that I've seen where you don't relate with the characters.
Yeah.
And if they fall and hurt themselves, you could care less. because they're jerks.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and
You're rooting for these characters.
Yeah,
Constantly
you-
rooting for these characters. That's important.
I usually shy away from Adam Sandler because of the movies he makes.
Recent.
Yeah, but
What period?
I was impressed. I really felt for him. As an older person, I also felt that he was in a place in his life where he starts feeling like this is where I ended up.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is my job.
Yeah.
All I do is
Sure.
go from one hotel to another.
And
And he always wanted to be a coach.
Yeah.
And then you see the transformation where he goes
Yeah.
from thinking he lost his dream to it coming to reality. So I
Sure.
thought that was
It's relatable.
Yeah, and then also the whole challenge of like at the beginning of the film, one of his friends says, "Hey, just become an agent. It's good money, and you'll end that." And it's like, do you?
Is that the easy way?
Well, it's kind of like, do you jump on that because it's going to be a good opportunity for you, and it's going to satisfy this need of being there with your family, or do you follow the dream? And at his stage in life, is following the dream a good choice, or is that going to ruin him? And it's like it's there's bigger stakes because of where he's at in his life.
Essentially, and I love that perspective. That's great perspective. It's relatable, and you're rooting for the characters the entire time. That's important. JJ, you had a
To be fair, he's a coach
Scotia now, so he's gonna see his family even less.
But he's in the same city as
Okay,
him.
you know what?
He's in the same
Fine.
city as him. He
Fine.
comes home every night.
Pop the bubble. He's gonna see his family less, you know.
No, but I mean, sure, you're right. I mean, on the technicality, fine, but
Yeah.
he's in the same city as his family now. He comes home every night. That's a big deal. Right? All right, cool.
JD the family
thank you
hater.
guys. This is great. Any other just final comments before we wrap it up?
Show me the money.
Show me
the money.
All right.
What's the next movie?
The next movie. Can we say?
Yes.
Who's next?
I'm between two. Let me see.
No. Well, okay,
No,
fine.
you can't be
No,
between
you gotta pick
two.
one. No, I know. No, you picked one. You picked
Yeah.
one.
This guy don't know what type of crowd we have now.
They're against you either way.
Rowdy.
Man. Right now, you put them against you, Castro. With $1 million baby. We're doing $1 million baby next.
No, baby.
Nah, $1 million baby.
No, yeah. Well, final thoughts, and then we'll announce the next movie.
Okay.
You know, Castro's next on the choosing. So, I don't think my score changed.
Damn it.
I'm at an 8.0. I'm pretty forgiving.
Really, you're worried about saying "damn it" on this podcast? Never mind.
Have I said it? Bro?
Not here, but in studio.
Yeah.
Anyways,
okay.
my score didn't change. It's a fine film. Check it out. It's one of those Netflix things. It's less than, barely under 2 hours.
Jesus, man. Be
It's
nice.
fine. It's fine. It's good. It's a good. I wouldn't go as far as to call it a good feel good movie necessarily. Like
I think it was.
It was fine, but I think it's a little more than that. I'll give it a little more credit than that.
Oh wait, Austin has something to say.
Oh no, I'm just getting ready to give my final rating.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's fine. Check it out. It's worth it. It's worth the watch. 8.0 is probably very generous, to be honest with you, but
God damn,
it's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
Go on, Austin.
I'm dropping into an 8.
No.
It was a 9?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
JJ, put into perspective, like what did he have to really go through to get to where he was at the end?
But
I don't play
but
basketball,
I'll say
bro.
this,
Y'all don't play
like
basketball.
All those sevens brought it
man.
down, gentlemen.
Well, mine
That
actually
was
went
the
up.
argument that got to me though was
That's fine. Anybody else? Did it change? Did it go up? Did it go down?
Mine went up.
7.95.
7.95. Wow, you went up.
Yeah.
All right. Castro, you still held out at 9?
It took a
9.5?
giant leap forward to 9.6, bro.
Wow.
You should make it a 10 despite everyone.
I know.
Just to balance out the average.
No, but semi-pro's there, so I can't put them in. I can't put
Oh
them
man,
in
you can't knock down
like
the
I said,
semi-pro.
I think collectively it's a good film. Go watch it. It's one of the better sports films that's come out in the last 10 years.
Definitely.
Good way to put it.
Yeah,
'Cause all of
it's-
this stuff
it's
you
fine.
said was horrible.
Check it out. But now, before we get, what are we screening next, guys? What are we doing next for the WatchTower podcast?
Well, if anybody wants to comment, just help me out. I'm between two because there's two different types of crowds. Some people hate M. Night Shyamalan. There we go. There we go. So we're definitely not gonna do that one.
No, what?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I love that movie.
Signs.
Or the more recent one because I know a little bit more recent. I don't know if you guys seen Mother.
Mother. Oh, we talked about Mother. Darren Aronofsky.
It's a
trip.
So I just by the
Mother. Yeah, we
Mother.
talked about this. We had agreed on Mother. You're right.
I like how you forced him into a whole don't choose M. Night.
Don't choose M. Night. No. If you haven't seen Old, by the way, it was actually decent. It was okay.
What about Young?
Sit down, Young. Anyways, the next film on the WatchTower podcast we're going to review is Mother. Darren Aronofsky's starring Jennifer Lawrence and.
It's a mind. It's a mind.
Yeah, so it's very allegorical, very biblical, ton of stuff, Mother Earth, that type of thing.
Before we end, amazing place, Aaron and George's Cafe. It was an absolute pleasure being here.
Aaron and George's Film Cafe, 105 Texas. They have lunch. They're always screening films, lunch, dinner, all day. I mean, check out their schedule online. Sign up for their newsletter. You sign up for their newsletter, they'll let you know every week what's going to be coming up in terms of screenings. They program their films. They curate.
It smells good. The bathroom's good.
I can't tell you how. I'm talking about curating cinema. You want to talk about the bathroom?
Yeah,
all right, it's fine. All around.
Now we know where he spent his time.
No, but listen,
it's a good place.
I make it a point on this podcast and in my day-to-day conversations about cinema. I really love cinema. We love cinema, and when people care enough to curate it and to pick films for specific reasons and say. The first film I screened here was Midnight Cowboy. Who's showing other people Midnight Cowboy? Like, it's a terrific picture. Nobody cares. But Aaron the George Film Cafe cares, and that's what I love about them.
Yeah, amazing food, amazing time. Thank you so much for lending us this space.
Rebecca.
Yeah, thank you.
We want to thank everybody in the audience for being here tonight.
Thank you, audience.
We're going to be hosting the WatchTower podcast at least once a month here at the Cafe Live. So make sure to keep an eye on our social media, on our website. We're going to be promoting what the next film here is and when we're going to do it. We'll release the date soon. They also are doing local Wednesdays. We'll be here next Wednesday showing Tower Productions films on Wednesday. It's going to be great, 7 o'clock. So I'm pretty sure this is going to come out well after that. But still, please check out on our social media when the next live podcast we're going to do at Aaron and George's Film Cafe. We're going to be here once a month at least. So thank you guys for tuning in to the WatchTower podcast.
And as always,
my fellow co-host,
show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Me the money.
Hey.
Thank you guys. Stay tuned. Check out the next episode. We'll see you soon.
Love you
Take
guys.
care, everybody.